been a year for the lesser known girlies, and I think mainstream pop releases are suffering for it. Hello, you are tuned into Starstruck, the 2025 end of year review / awards with Big Pink Energy, who is me. Maybe you're here to look over the best moments in pop culture, music, news and gossip, or maybe you're here because secretly you are in love with me. I think we both know why you're really here. I'm excited. It's been a huge year year for pop culture, music, not just for Gaga. I know we all love Gaga, but like a lot has happened. A lot. Almost every mainstream artist has released music in some form this year when you think about it. It's been huge, and it's actually been an even bigger year for those who aren't mainstream pop artists. So much to discuss. Let's get into it. I wanted to do a fun award show format, something new for us. Let me know in the comments if you like it, and we'll do it again next year. Let me take these off. I just wanted a dramatic look for the opening, you know, like an award show. Anyway, I've got some categories. Some of them are quite ridiculous. Almost all of them are quite ridiculous, actually, but I think you'll appreciate it. Before I actually get into all of these awards I've made up, I do just want to talk a little bit to the music that's come out this year. I made a TikTok just before I started filming this about how I think there's been a real shift where mainstream pop isn't receiving the noise and the attention that it used to. And I do think we can pinpoint this back to Brat last year, Charlie XCX. I think people are wanting to be so kind of special and unique and different now, which I think is really fun. And I think mainstream pop releases are kind of suffering for it. Addison Rae has been one of the artists that I think has made the most noise this year. So that says something. Really, out of all of the mainstream releases we've had this year, I think it's really just Mayhem and Man's Best Friend that have made kind of wider impact within the general public. Even still, I wouldn't say it's been like they've dominated this year. I'd say they've had big moments, but it doesn't feel to me as though those are like the standout pop moments of the year. When you kind of measure them up to previous years, I would say Abracadabra is a pop standout moment of the year. I wouldn't say it kind of took over the world in the way that Brat did, or I don't know, pick a previous pop moment from previous years that like really had everybody talking, everybody excited and buzzy and you know, it's been big for sure. And it's definitely been my favourite pop moment of the year. For the general public, has it made as much impact as maybe it would have done if it were happening 5 years ago? Maybe not. And I don't think that's Gaga, and I don't think that's Sabrina. I think that's just really where the pop culture landscape is right now. Underground, independent, lesser known artists are having bigger moments this year than ever before, especially women. Here I've written down Adele, Kesha, Jade, Rebecca Black, Addison Rae, Slater, FKA Twigs, Pink Panthers, Zara Larsson. I'm sure there's people I'm forgetting, but these women have had really big success this year. Really incredible. They've been dominating. It's been a year for the lesser known girlies. That's actually really exciting. That's a really, really cool thing that someone like Slater or Kesha can have a release and it's being talked about on many people's feeds, not everybody's, but as much, if not more than the new Cardi B album or the new Ariana Grande Deluxe album. You know, Miley Cyrus released an album this year. Lorde released an album this year. Lots of people made music this year. Lots of massive mainstream names released music this year. And a lot of it kind of came and went. And yet what I'm seeing is real excitement about Adele, a new artist. I'm seeing excitement around Slater. I'm so excited for what Slater's going to do in 2026. I can't even tell you. I'm so ready for whatever she's going to come out with next. It's fascinating to me that that's the way culture has kind of shifted this year. And I really do think part of it, and again, this is what I spoke about on TikTok, I do think a big part of it is because people just want to feel special and unique and different. I guess with a straight face, someone asking you, oh, who's your favourite singer? And you saying, oh, Sabrina Carpenter. I think for some people that's starting to feel a little bit not as interesting, not as different, maybe slightly shallow. And Listen, I'm not here to tell you that you have to listen to underground artists to be an interesting person. I am maybe the biggest Lady Gaga fan in the world. I definitely am a fan of mainstream pop music, so I'm not here to tell you that you have to listen to lesser known artists to be, you know, a more cultured or interesting person. But I do think it's a really exciting time for the indie girlies. Some of my favourite music of the year has been from these people, and if Gaga hadn't released Mayhem this year, I guarantee you one of these girls would have been like my favourite album of the year. Similarly, that's my gay side talking. Let's talk about my het side. I don't talk about my het side very often, but the new Gaga and The Weeknd rumours have my het side jumping. My Apple Replay, my most listened to artist of the year obviously was Lady Gaga. Actually, let me get my replay up. Can I do it on desktop? Gaga dominated my listening this year with 9,230 minutes. Second place was The Weeknd, 6,931 minutes. And I tell you, the majority of that is going to be Baptized in Fear into Open Hearts. Open Hearts might be the most underrated song of the year. That song is incredible. That song deserves the success that Blinding Lights has. That song is excellent. And when you listen to it in the context of the album and you go from Baptized in Fear, which is this like really dark, moody song where he's like staring death in the face, into the adrenaline of Open Hearts, it's magical. It's really magical. So yeah, my het side is jumping at these rumours. Like truly, Gaga was my top 3 most listened to songs of the year. Garden of Eden first, Disease second, Abracadabra third. Fourth was I Can't Wait to Get There by The Weeknd. I have a feeling it's actually Open Hearts and the Apple Music has split my listens between the album version and the single version. I spent slightly more time listening to Hurry Up Tomorrow than I did Mayhem. About half an hour more listening to Able this year than Mayhem. But it's very close. It's very close. So yeah, when I tell you these rumours have me really excited, I'm very excited, but I'll be talking about that in a separate video. I'm going to get into these award categories I've made. The first one, because I know it's why you're all here. Before I get into everything, let me just say this. First award is Pop Culture Legend, Icon and Star of the Universe of All Time of the Year. Obviously the winner is Lady Gaga. Guys, I like a lot of music. It just needs to be said here for clarity at the beginning. Lady Gaga's my favourite, and I don't think that's ever going to change. I stayed by her through Joanne, and that was a tough time to be a fan. She's still my favourite. She's still my favourite, and she always will be. And Mayhem, I was thinking about it this week, it is my favourite Lady Gaga album. I don't say that lightly. It always used to be The Fame Monster, which I think is controversial because a lot of people that have been around for as long as me in the fan base would say their favourite album is probably Born This Way. Born This Way is incredible. I always said The Fame Monster was her best because it's 8 tracks of pure excellence, all killer, no filler. Every song is incredible on The Fame Monster, and the metaphor was so strong, the concepting was so strong, I just thought it couldn't be beaten. I think Mayhem lives up to The Fame Monster and maybe slightly exceeds it. For Gaga to achieve that at this stage in her career is kind of incredible. So Mayhem, album of the year. Mayhem, album of Lady Gaga's career. It's been a huge year for Gaga, but I'm going to be talking about that in a separate video, so I won't go into too much detail on it here. I just wanted to let you all know, even if I'm not talking about Gaga so much in this video, I still love her. She's still my number 1. That will not change, ever. Let's get into these awards. So, artist who can do no wrong for me personally of the year, Kesha. To see her release her album completely independent has just been a joy to watch. To see her have a bit of a renaissance on TikTok, to see everyone giving her her flowers, to see her as the face of the early 2010s alongside people like Gaga is really enjoyable. I've loved seeing that this year. It's the perfect sort of hit of nostalgia, but also kind of realising that sometimes things are nostalgic and they're not necessarily that good. They're just nostalgic. Kesha was really, really good. Your Love Is My Drug, Blah Blah Blah, so many hits. Blow. What's the one I really like on the album? I love Party at a Rich Dude's House. I love Backstabber is an incredible song, and that had a bit of a moment too. Just to watch all of the love come in for Kesha, I think, has been really inspiring. We all know Kesha has very publicly been through some tough shit. And so to see her kind of the other side of that, thriving, and also making really good music this year, I've loved watching it. I really have. Boy Crazy was Song of the Summer for me. I also loved Attention. Joyride was also really fun. Joyride is one of those songs when you first listen to it, you just think, oh, she's like just making this for like gay boys in clubs. Then you go to a gay club night with gay boys in the club and you hear a song like Joyride and you realise, oh my God, it's amazing. I will say the album I felt sadly was one of those albums I connected more with the singles than I did the album tracks. But regardless, happy for Kesha. I'm there at the tour next year. I've already got my tickets. Just to see her thrive, I think, is so inspiring for women everywhere. But yeah, loved seeing Kesha get her flowers this year. Loved seeing her at Mighty Hoopla. Can't wait to see her next year. And can't wait to see what she does next. Unintentionally camp quote that has monumentally impacted my day-to-day lexicon of the year. Justin Bieber saying, "It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it?" Oh my God. As if that came out of the mouth of a straight man. Excellent. No notes. He queened out that day. Diva down. Actually, new quote I've just stolen from Twitter. diva.com/cunt. Like, he ate that so bad. I can't even tell you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it? It's not clocking to you. It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business, is it? No notes. Incredible. Best 3-single run of the year, even if I didn't understand some of it on first listen of the year. Slater. Beat Up Chanel's I loved pretty much instantly, and I was going to Brighton Pride, so I made a bit of an effort to listen to just some of her music before I went, because I've always known of Slater and I've listened to her music before, but I always felt it was just a little bit, it felt kind of like, how do I say this politely? The music to me, the lyrical content was very interesting. The sound didn't convince me enough of her as an artist until Beat Up Chanel's, and then I was like, oh, this is really good. And from there I've gone back and I really like a couple of songs on Starfucker now that I didn't really know of before, because before I'd listened to like BFF, which is like a fun song, Celebrity, which is a fun song, those kinds of Slater ones I listened to and I was like, that's kind of pretty much all her thing. I know she covered Britney every time. Yeah, I liked Slater. I wouldn't have said, oh, I'm a big fan of this song or this album, because I just kind of thought that was her thing. Loved her aesthetic. Everything I saw of her aesthetic I thought was really impressive, but the music just didn't really grab me until I heard Beat Up Chanel's and I was like, oh, this song is something serious. Sadly, when I saw her at Brighton Pride, we arrived halfway through her set and she'd already performed Beat Up Chanel's, so I could hear it as we were queuing to get in, but I haven't really seen her perform it. So if she comes back to the UK next year, I'm absolutely going. Then she released Cannibalism, and I know that kind of went semi-viral on Twitter, and I didn't get it on first listen, and then it hit for me maybe a month or two ago. How long has the song been out? It hit for me later than everybody else, and then when I got it, I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. It reminds me of like early Lana Del Rey, Lizzie Grant, like AKA Lizzie Grant kind of vibe to some of it, which I really, really enjoy. Crank is my least favourite, but I've seen a lot of people saying it's their favourite. I really like Crank, but it's just maybe that slight bit too shouty for me. But I can appreciate in those 3 songs, in that set, it's a very good song. And I also went back and listened to No Comma, which could fit within those 4, but I understand that it's separate. I'm so ready for her new album. Whatever it's going to be, those 3 songs have convinced me I need it in my life. I need to see the show. Get the tickets, don't care what the album sounds like, it's that vibe. Like, I am so excited for her new era. I love the visuals, the Beat Up Chanel's video of her in the wedding dress with the iPod and the fireworks happening behind, chef's kiss, cannibalism, chef's kiss. Like, truly, she is killing it. And just, it's so inspiring again to see what women can do even if they're not backed by a major record label. And I don't know if Slater is. She might be signed to like a massive record label. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But it's inspiring to see like this kind of stuff coming from someone who isn't a Sabrina Carpenter or, you know, a big name like that. Loved what Slater's done this year. Can't wait for what's next. Music that my het side loved so much of the year. I already talked about this. It's Baptized in Fear Into Open Hearts. Also, Enjoy the Show featuring Future on that album. Enjoy the Show is a really good song. If you guys like, how can I recommend this to you? If you like any of The Weeknd's older, more depressing, druggy, sad kind of stuff, you might like Enjoy the Show. It's not that depressing. The lyrical content is very, very depressing, but the sound almost sounds quite hopeful or like enlightened somehow, I guess. When I found the original track that he sampled for Enjoy the Show, I was mind blown because he's basically left it unchanged. The song is called Homemade Gun by a band called Loaded Honey. What I thought when I first listened to Enjoy the Show was he's found like an old song from the 70s and then like made it into a beat and sampled it that way. But actually, pretty much Homemade Gun is basically Enjoy the Show instrumental, more or less. Slightly tweaked, but really impressive find because this is like not very, they're not a very well-known band. It's not a very well-known song. Him or his producer, whoever found that and went, yeah, that's what we're going to go with. Very, very impressive. I even like Future on the track. I'm not a big Future fan. I'm not really a big fan of like the kind of mumble rap vibe in general, but I do think Future adds something to this track that's quite interesting. My het side has loved those songs. Open Hearts. If you're gay, you'll love Open Hearts. If you're het, if you're a bit emo, you will probably appreciate listening to Baptized into Fear and then feeling that build and then the climax of Open Hearts finally starting. But just some recommendations from me. Me and my het side recommending stuff for you. Awkward marketing moment of the year. I'm going with Apple TV marketing pluribus and what might be a fake post, but we're still going to talk about it. The schizophrenic woman who thought the Apple TV advert was her having another manic episode. If you guys have seen Pluribus, it's a really interesting show, but I would put it in the same category as White Lotus, where it's one of those that's definitely more of like a character study show and a world building show than it is a plotline show. And it's frustrating at times because the plot is really interesting and you want more of that and sometimes a bit less of the character study, world building kind of detail. It's quite slow at times, but I'm finding that it's just audiences have different tastes. From what I'm reading online, like me and my fiance, we watch it and we're like, okay, another episode where we've watched it for an hour and one or two things have happened. Some people really do like that kind of slow build of tension and seeing someone have a descent into madness quite slowly. So I appreciate that what might not be for me might actually be the perfect show for you, but it's a really, really cool concept. However, the marketing, they literally have, so the show, how do I say this? I think I can say this without spoiling the show. The show is basically, the world basically becomes one hive mind and it's caused by like a virus and there's only like 12 people, 13 people who weren't affected by the virus. One of them is the show's protagonist, Carol, and because every single other person in the world has all become the same person, they all have the same brain. They know what's happening. If you're talking to one of them, you're talking to all of them. So they talk to her by, she turns on the TV channel and they're like, hi, Carol, blah, 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 blah. And then she picks up the phone and it's, hi, Carol, and blah, blah, blah. So the marketing for the show has been like billboards that say, next episode comes out this week, Carol or whatever, and there is a woman, allegedly, who posted on Reddit, or her family member posted on Reddit, called Carol, who has a history of schizophrenia, who thought she saw an advert on her fridge, which, first of all, adverts on a fridge, crazy. She saw an advert for Pluribus and thought she was having another schizophrenic episode. So yeah, that was really quite awkward. It makes you kind of think, as kind of clever and on the nose as the marketing idea might be, ethically, is it always the right thing to do? Anyway, just wanted to talk about that. Fall from grace of the year, I've put Sydney Sweeney, because there's definitely been celebrities that have disgraced themselves more this year, but Sydney Sweeney, I feel like all she had to do was sit there and look pretty and everyone would have loved her. Like, Euphoria is coming out next year. She was great in Euphoria. Euphoria has such like a cult fan base. She doesn't have to do a lot to be loved, and yet by doing that Good Genes advert, just kind of lost any credibility or admiration people had for her. It's all kind of gone in the bin. So I thought that was interesting. So I've put her as Fall from Grace of the year. As I say, she's so beautiful. She's so hot. She literally just has to sit there and not say anything stupid. And she didn't manage to do that this year, which is disappointing. Pop girl who makes me proud to be British of the year. Pink Pantheress, obviously. Hello, you. Do you like Pink Pantheress? You probably prefer Doja Cat. Brilliant aesthetic, marketing, really impressive. Fun to see Pink Pantheress's like development as an artist this year. I think she's really cool. I think, you know, the music, none of it really has been something where I've been like, oh, I've got to add that to my playlist. I've got to listen to that a million times. But I do think what she's doing is very cool, very interesting to watch. I love, I know there's a couple of music videos she's done with quite practical effects, as in she's like hired an artist to like hand draw elements of it and things like that. And I think any artist that's actually investing in real practical art instead of just kind of relying on AI has my respect. And this isn't me like starting a anti-AI rant or anything, but I do think real traditional skill should be appreciated, and so I think Pink Pantheress is really cool for doing that. Movie I expected to be bad because of the bad reviews, but actually it was really good of the year. Wicked for Good. Why has that film got such bad reviews? It's fine. Is it groundbreaking? No. Does it do a perfect job of telling the story it needs to tell? Yes. Did I cry? A little bit. Tiny bit. Don't know if I had like a fully formed tear, but the tears were forming here. My friends cried at the movie. So, you know, I don't know what the people giving Wicked bad reviews wanted from the movie, because it did what it needed to do. Ariana was great. Cynthia was great. Jonathan Bailey was great. The things I will agree with on critique. The lighting for that scarecrow makeup, diabolical. Cannot believe how much detail went into that makeup for it to look like CGI. Disgraceful, actually. The two new songs I don't feel added anything to the plot. I think the second half of Wicked, bear in mind, I've only seen Wicked the musical once, and that's all my experience of Wicked. So I have seen it, but years ago, and only once. So I'm not like super familiar with Wicked as other people might be. I will say the two new songs, I think the second half of Wicked could do with just generally being a bit more upbeat, a bit more like, the best songs are in part one. I think everyone generally kind of feels that way. But yeah, if we're going to add two more new songs to the second half, I think at least one of them should have been an upbeat one, not two more slow songs. Like, For Good is the standout song of Wicked Part 2. That's already kind of a slow song, so add something a bit sexy or fun or something, you know? That's really where I'll critique Wicked. On the whole, don't understand the bad reviews it's getting, to be honest. Think it did a perfect job of what it needed to do, so free her. Leave her alone. TV show that started out really strong and camp and excellent, that has lost a bit of the shine for me as it continued, but I still quite enjoy it, of the year. All's Fair. Oh my god, those first few episodes of All's Fair. Sarah Paulson is great at whatever she does, given. Glenn Close, also really, really brilliant. Kim Kardashian, this is the perfect show for her. Like, truly the perfect show for her. In the same way that, like, Scream Queens was perfect for Emma Roberts, All's Fair is perfect for Kim Kardashian. I love Niecy Nash. Teyana Taylor's good in it. Like, it's really... The lines, the writing is so fucking hilarious. It's so good. But I will say, kind of like after episode 3 or 4, it gets a bit too serious. It feels kind of like it starts off really camp. And that's where the magic is, when the show knows it's camp. The show knows it's not trying to be too serious. It's not trying to actually be a piece of feminist media. It's kind of more tongue-in-cheek. It gets to a point in the series where it becomes very dark and just takes itself a bit too seriously. And I feel like it needs a bit more of the like flirty, fun, you know, let's get these rich women a really good deal out of their divorces energy back from the earlier episodes. I feel like that's where it needs to move back towards too. I'm a few episodes behind, so maybe it does return that way, but the past 2 episodes I've watched have been quite dark, and I would appreciate just more of that like silly, laugh out loud writing back. So I think it's worth a watch. If you haven't watched All's Fair, at least check out like the first 2 episodes because it's absolutely hilarious. If you liked Gossip Girl, Pretty Little Liars, that kind of thing, you would love it. But yeah, I'm hoping it does return back to that energy. Still love it though. Underrated album of the year, V by Doja Cat, without a doubt. I think V is the strongest album in Doja's discography, quite honestly. And I could almost make a separate video just about this era because it's baffling to me the kind of quiet reception it's had. It's a real highlight of the year, but also to kind of see her artistic growth to end with V being her most recent release is incredible. So here's the thing. I discovered Doja when I was in university. Her song So High kept getting recommended to me on YouTube. Back then I didn't have like a streaming service. I didn't want to pay for Spotify or Apple Music or anything, so I just used to listen to music on YouTube. And actually, I don't know if it still is because I use Apple Music now, but the algorithm used to be really, really good. I used to find some excellent stuff through YouTube, but it kept recommending So High to me, and I just remember thinking, my God, I've seen this thumbnail so many times. Let me just check it out and see what it is. Instantly fell in love with that song, and that's when I went and then listened to everything else that Doja Cat had put out, which at that point was only an EP called Purr and quite a few SoundCloud songs. So there was a few of those that I really liked, but nothing came close to how much I liked So High. I also really liked, she had a song No Police, which I really liked. Then she came out with her first album, Amala, and on that album I loved Casual. She had a couple of singles, Go to Town, Fancy, I remember being a big song, but I remember sort of thinking it's not as good as the other ones on the album. Anyway, my point is I've watched her grow a lot. So when she had Moo and Bitch I'm a Cow, and then when she had Tia Tamera, and then when she had Juicy, all of those big hits, I just remember being like, I cannot believe this is like who I've been listening to for years in my dorm room at uni. And I saw Doja's first ever show in the UK. It was at Heaven and I was on stage with her. Anyway, my point is Scarlett seemed like she lost her way a little bit, because I remember before Scarlett was released, she was kind of saying, you know, I want to be taken seriously as a rap artist. I'm not just a pop singer, I can rap. And I remember thinking, I know you can rap because Rules is incredible, Need to Know is incredible. She'd done a load of like features and other songs like Make That Cake. Her verse on that is incredible. And I remember just thinking like Scarlett is going to be really cool. And then I just wasn't taken with it. There's a couple of songs, now that time has passed, I really like 40% of the album. I struggled to connect with like, what's that song which like My Diamonds Are Like Piss or something. There's a lot of songs on there that I'm just like, I didn't like Demons. I just felt like her skill is better than what she's putting out on this album. It was clearly something necessary for her in her artistic journey to do, right? And then when she released like the follow-up, the Scarlet 2, I only really liked Acknowledge Me, the opening track. So to see her kind of return to pop was exciting for me, because I know for a fact she does pop well. Jealous Type, incredible. Brilliant lead single, loved the video, thought she killed it. Really surprised that it didn't take off. She releases the full album. Gorgeous, is fun. Do I think it's the best song as a choice for a second single? No. Do I still really like it? Yes. V is incredible because Amal is a good album. Hot Pink is a great album. Planet Her is a great album. Scarlet is okay. V is like up here. The sound, like you've got consistency, you've got interesting lyrics, you've got really good use of samples, you've got like catchy beats, melodies that get stuck in your head. It's really Doja at her best. The aesthetic is just beautiful, really draws you in. Album cover's maybe the only thing I don't like. That aside, really, really strong album. Really disappointing to see it have such a lackluster reception. Maybe like Brat, she's kind of just hoping that going on tour is going to kind of give it the push it needs as more people kind of see clips go viral and things like that. But I have to say, I even though I didn't like Scarlet, what I did like about it was I respected that Doja was clearly doing something she felt was necessary for her artistic growth. She could just make another pop rap album like Hot Pink, Planet Her, and it would have done really well. It would have made a lot of money, but instead what she decided to do was say, fuck you guys, I'm giving myself a clean slate, I'm starting from the beginning, my other music doesn't matter, and this is what I'm doing now. And to have that level of dedication and commitment to her artistry, whether I liked it or not, I thought was really inspiring and really interesting. So V album, underrated album of the year, you heard it here first. Big Pink Energy, Starstruck. The next award is called Women, just Women of the Year. Cynthia Erivo protecting Ariana Grande on the red carpet. And by extension, Cynthia Erivo is the meme queen of 2025. I'm obsessed with her. I think there's a lot of conversation that's been really important around like microaggressions and how we talk about Black women and whether they are powerful. The idea that Black women have to kind of be seen as strong and have to be really, really hyper feminine to be seen as soft and dainty, whereas, you know, because she is a Black woman with no hair, she's always going to be seen as kind of like powerful and strong and therefore cannot be seen as soft. I think those are really important, interesting discussions. The discussion I want to have now is just that she is a queen. Her reactions to things are brilliant. That one and this one, love her of the year, Cynthia Erivo. Next category, biggest load of talk about nothing of the year, and the winner is Sabrina Carpenter's Man Best Friend album cover. So many headlines about that, so many think pieces, so many hours of TikToks, so many pages of tweets, and yet for why? The thing is, whether we like it or not, pop stars, oh my god, in my mention of like independent artists, forgot to mention Marina and the Diamonds, loved Princess of Power, let me just say that here. Sabrina Carpenter, look, the music, I was really hoping that with that album cover, the music was going to have like some pretty good critique of men. The album coming out and being disappointing has kind of just led me to think, expect less of pop stars who aren't Lady Gaga. I think Sabrina Carpenter's great. I think she's a fun artist. I think just lower your expectations of pop stars generally, because it would have been cool if that was the album cover for some really like feminist shit, but maybe that's my fault for thinking that Sabrina Carpenter can deliver something more than just men are children, men are pigs. Tell me something I don't know, you know? Next category. Live show that impressed me the most by using less resource to make bigger staging and production impact of the year. Don't judge me or hate me for this. Addison Rae. Her show, oh my god, I walked away thinking every comparison I've seen to Addison Rae with Britney Spears, fair. And I don't say that lightly. I love Britney Spears. I love Britney Spears. To compare Addison Rae to Britney Spears, I get it. And I didn't feel that way until I saw the show. The album, Addison, incredible, love, no notes. But the show, she is dancing, she is singing live, and she is creating an entire world pretty much just using light on the stage. Really, really impressive. I was so drawn in. It really made me regret like not getting better seats because I couldn't see perfectly for the whole show, but she's a really, really impressive performer. You know, I know people kind of clown her online for like maybe not being the best vocalist or like pitch perfect 100% of the time. I personally don't think she needs to be, because what she's bringing is very authentic, and I think it's really refreshing to see someone be so authentically themselves, so immersed in the world they've built, which is so rich and glamorous, but it doesn't feel produced for her. And I know that's also been a critique against Addison Rae, people saying she doesn't feel authentic. I personally do believe what she's doing is authentic to her, but if it's not, I also don't care, because it's so good. I'm just happy she's doing it. And the show, as I say, what she managed to do with just lighting, that reminded me of Gaga's Fame era, when Gaga would come out and she would sing Paparazzi on a spinning platform with 3 dancers each holding up a board covered in mirrors, and it would look as if she was coming out of almost like a crystallized mountain singing Paparazzi at the beginning of the set, and all it was 3 dancers holding up like a board. That's what it reminded me of, and that's very high praise coming from me, trust me. So Addison Rae live show that impressed me the most by using less to create a bigger impact of the year. Het meme that cracked me up of the year, the Coldplay kiss cam. Just hilarious. Yeah, I just like drama, and that's why that one made me laugh. I just wanted to remind you all of it. Video I kept seeing all over Twitter that altered my brain chemistry in a way I can't quite articulate of the year. Lola Young, the snippet of One Thing, and she's like performing in that like black one shoulder sort of dress. It looks like she's somewhere in America and the sky is like a deep blue, and someone made a version of it with like Bjork face morphed onto Lola Young. I just wanted to talk about that. So good. I hope Lola Young is doing well, by the way, also. Tour I'm glad I went to, but also could have done without of the year. This is going to be the most controversial one, and I almost don't want to say it because I just know it's going to cause drama in the comments, but it is just my opinion, so, you know, and it's okay if we have different opinions. We don't have to agree all the time. We don't. It's okay. Cowboy Carter. Look, maybe the problem is me because I don't like country music. I struggled when Gaga did it. I did. I really struggled when Gaga did Joanne. And I struggled with Cowboy Carter. I only like Tyrant, Bodyguard are the songs I like. I don't mind Riverdance and 16 Carriages. Don't think I like the rest of the album. So the tour was challenging for me too. I didn't want to miss it because it's a Beyonce show, and Beyonce's Beyonce, and Renaissance was one of the best shows I've ever seen. So I didn't, she was doing like 5 London shows. The tickets weren't selling. I don't care what you say, and I don't care what her publicist says. I actually have beef with Beyonce's publicist, which I'll get into in another, it's a story for another time, but I have personal beef with Yvette. The line I've seen around all of Beyonce's London shows being 100% sold out is absolutely a lie. I have videos of the seats being empty next to us at the end of the show. So, it's we got upgraded for free. Our tickets were at the top. We got upgraded and we were right down here. Listen, that set of shows was not 100% sold out. Anyway, that aside, the show probably wasn't for me because I didn't like the album. But I will say I'm still glad I went. I do think it was a shame that it was kind of just like Renaissance World Tour repackaged as Cowboy Carter. I feel like it didn't need a full world tour, this one. I think the best thing for me was seeing Blue. To see Blue Ivy really come into her own, thought that was excellent. Blue killed it on tour, actually. I loved Tyrant and Bodyguard. Tyrant might have been my favourite performance of the night, and then the Renaissance section, obviously. Celebrity who fell off so hard, I almost feel a bit bad for them of the year. This one has to be Katy Perry. I think when I made that video talking about what an awful time she was having, it felt like even then it was starting to get to a point where it's a bit like, oh, is this becoming like a pile-on? Is this becoming just like everybody going after her unnecessarily? Multiple things can be true at the same time here, right? Like, she is kind of a piece of shit. She has done very shitty things. She's going to continue to do shitty things. Don't hate me. I get the sense that she is more stupid than malicious. And so to watch her just be dragged this year got to a point where it like kind of stopped being funny and just got kind of sad. Maybe you disagree, but I don't regret my video about Katy Perry. I think it's still relevant. I do think, as I raised in that video, it's probably important to just assess how much of her behaviour is like she needs to be held accountable for this and how much of it is like we're just going after her because she's a woman. Anyway, she's had a bad year. Poor old Katy. Diva of the year, Adele. I mentioned her briefly in my Cat's Eye video. I really like Cat's Eye, and I think the beef between Manon fans and Adele fans is very stupid. And I think Adele is clearly an icon, and that doesn't, an icon as in ICON, not as in EYEKON, however you spell it. Adele is clearly a star. Let me just say that. It doesn't mean you have to like one or the other. And I think it's made me feel very old seeing like the way that fans are fighting about her and Cat's Eye online. Makes me feel like, oh my god, I'm too grown up for this shit. And I feel like the girls themselves probably feel that way as well. Adele, to release as your first EP album artwork of you pissing against the wall as if you were a man, call it The Provocateur, release a song and video like Sex on the Beat, Diva of the Year. Without a doubt. Court Case I Need Ryan Murphy to adapt into a full-length 6-part drama series immediately of the year. Cardi B going to court. The world fell in love with Cardi B all over again, I think. Rightfully so. Her court appearances were hilarious. They were very much needed for the culture. The memes, the reaction images. I think she's excellent, and I think it reminded everybody why she is where she is. You know, yes, she went a long time releasing no music, and everyone was like, what does she even do anymore? But actually, she's a personality as well as a music star, you know? And for me, look, there's certain icons in pop culture that I prefer as public figures than I do as musicians. Rihanna is one of them. Cardi B is probably another one for me. I've loved seeing people kind of dig up old quotes of hers where she has like stood up for gay people in the past, digging out old quotes of where she's apologised for terminology that isn't appropriate. You know, her actually making an effort to stand up and show out for LGBT, not just performatively, but to really kind of say, I'm sorry for this behaviour of mine in the past. It's really important to have people like Cardi B in the public. So yeah, I need that courtroom drama. And I want Ryan Murphy to actually cast Cardi B in it to play herself. Happy to see the girl having their moment of the year. Zara Larsson. That girl has been making music for like 10 years. And she's another one like Charlie who's had like moments of mainstream success, but I wouldn't say has had like a dedicated fan base, because her music that's gotten big feels quite generic until now. Midnight Sun, I think, has kind of curated a niche gay audience for her, which was really the missing ingredient for what Zara Larsson needed as a pop star to thrive. And I think Midnight Sun was the perfect era for that. Very smartly done. The aesthetic, the makeup, the visuals. It's not as if it's something that's never been done before, but it was really impressive to see how it was all laid out. Her, you know, stage presence, so many clips of her performing have gone viral from this era. I think she's had a really good year. And I think whatever comes next, it's just exciting to see like Zara Larsson have her moment and not just, oh, this one song has like gone really big from this artist. So yeah, happy to see the girl having her moment this year. Video, I don't want to reveal how many times I've rewatched it of the year. It's the Cat's Eye Gap advert. I talked about Cat's Eye a lot in my previous video on them. I really do like the girls. I have to say, nothing has drawn me in their discography as much as the Gap advert. And I think it's a really incredible video. The choreography is really impressive. The timing of it was perfect. Just as Sydney Sweeney is embarrassing herself for her racism, for Gap to come out with a completely entertaining choreographed video with one of the most diverse girl groups ever. Just excellent. Really loved it. I've watched it many times. I don't know what it is. There's just something about that opening of them doing like the choreography that scratches my brain in such a way. I love it. I really love it. Movie that I wouldn't say is particularly good enough to be award winning, but that I still really enjoyed and want to talk about of the year. One of Them Days with Keke Palmer and SZA. Really entertaining. It made me like yearn for those 2010s days of like silly romantic comedies, like Adam Sandler kind of comedies. I miss those days where like you would look at what's on at the cinema and there would always be like a horror movie, a kids movie, and then like a silly comedy movie. And I feel like we don't have enough of those anymore, but One of Them Days was like a good one. I would say it was on par with like those kinds of movies from back in the day. I loved SZA. I loved Keke Palmer. SZA's acting I thought was quite good in it. Keke Palmer I just thought was brilliant. She really killed it. So yeah, loved the film. Do recommend it if you're just like looking for something easy to watch that doesn't require too much like brain capacity. I do really recommend it. And if they made another one, if they made like a sequel, I would definitely watch it. Celebrity who you thought couldn't go lower but somehow found a way to disappoint us even further of the year. No surprises here. It's Nicki Minaj. I have noticed that she's been on this trajectory for a long time, and it makes me feel both disappointed but also validated that the world is kind of catching up now, because she has been a horrific, awful, nasty person for a long, long time. It started with her getting back with that man who she is married to and has had a child with. It continued with her jealousy of new artists in the music industry. It continued with her public support of her brother, who was in prison for child abuse, let's just say. It also continued with working with other known child abusers in the music industry, such as 6ix9ine, controversial figures such as Dr. Luke, and paying homage again to other abusers such as Rick James. You know, she's been on this path for a long time, so to see her fan base support her all this time and only just now turning their back on her, to me says, why now? It's really kind of disappointing, actually. I'm disappointed in all the people that have turned their back on her now, because I feel like the people that are still riding with her, you can kind of just say, well, look, that's their favourite artist. They're separating the artist from the art. Whether you agree with the concept of that or not, I personally don't. But if that's what they're doing, it's not my business, you know? If Gaga tomorrow woke up and became a Nazi, God forbid, but say she did, if I still appreciated all her albums and her music and her videos that came out before that point, if I do that kind of like privately myself, it's not a good thing to do, but I think people would understand it. But if I then, you know, if she was a Nazi and I supported her publicly, and then after becoming a Nazi, she then says, I hate women and I'm a misogynist and I'm going to vote for Trump and whatever else. And for me to then take a stance that she is not someone I want to support, then makes me think, well, why did that not happen here? So that's what's been quite disappointing for me. She's already fallen from grace a long time ago in my eyes. I think who have actually fallen from grace are her fans, because I didn't realise so many of them had a boundary. Het drama of the year, Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. I know this one was going on from last year. A catalyst for this, I think, was Megan Thee Stallion dropping Hiss. I do think we have to just mention it again, because obviously the Super Bowl was this year, and I feel like that was kind of like the peak of the Kendrick Lamar Drake drama. The meme of Kendrick like smiling at the camera. Yeah, I thought that was good. Good het drama of the year. Underground/indie girl music of the year that deserved the same level of attention as Addison Rae of the year. Rebecca Black, Salvation EP. I've spoken about Rebecca Black a couple of times on the podcast. I think she is incredible. I think she deserves a much bigger fan base, and I think she will get one. The more exposure she has, the more time she has, she will get there. Twist the Knife was my 5th most listened to song of the year, and Apple Music also told me I was in the top 500 Rebecca Black listeners this year. And I did after Salvation, because I loved it so much, did go back and try and listen to her oldest discography. I only found a couple of songs that I liked. Salvation really was the most exciting thing I found. The whole EP is great, the title track is great, Trust is another really good one. She also name drops Gaga in that song, so if you haven't listened to Trust, I recommend you listen to it. But Twist the Knife for me is my favourite, hands down. Really brilliant song, brilliant EP, so I just wanted to shout that out. Movie soundtrack single of the year is going to Ice Spice Big Guy for me. The first time I listened to it I thought it was a bit of a joke, and the more I listened to it the more I realised she's actually put crack in this song. It's very catchy, there's something quite hypnotising and impressive about it, and I just wanted to go on record that I think Big Guy, Ice Spice for the SpongeBob movie is a brilliant choice. Love her showing up to the premiere half naked, kind of hilarious. More of Ice Spice in 2026. I thought she was done. I thought Ice Spice was done. I'm happy that she's back talking shit, doing shit. Love that for her and for all of us as the public. Twitter moment that wasn't impactful enough to say it was the best particular thing of the year, but significant enough to mention in this video at least of the year. Again, Ice Spice, the song she did with Lato, where there's a snippet of Lato just pushing her, and then Ice Spice topples over, lands on the rope of a boxing ring and starts twerking. That's what this is about. Favourite concept album, if I pretend that Lady Gaga doesn't exist, of the year. Tyler, the Creator, Don't Tap the Glass, for me, was... I loved the music, but I loved the concept behind it, because it was basically the idea that we're so concerned about public image, social media being filmed, that we can't enjoy ourselves anymore. We can't authentically just let loose and dance. And he made an album directly saying, you have to dance to this album. And Don't Tap the Glass is obviously a reference to like being at the zoo and watching the zoo animals. They say don't tap the glass because you'll startle them, and you want to just watch the animals kind of in their environment, in their habitat. Don't tap the glass in this context is, you know, dance like nobody's watching, and don't interrupt when people are fully immersed in that dance moment. Loved that as a concept. Thought it was very timely for 2025, and also loved the music. Sugar on My Tongue is great. Don't You Worry Baby, Sucker Free, and there's another one that I really like, Ring Ring Ring. Really good, really, really good songs. And Don't Tap the Glass, the title track, is also really fun. So yeah, another Het award from me, but oh no, Tyler's bi, isn't he? Yeah. TV show that I really enjoyed but made me realise that some people are just way more into the fandom and things like that than me of the year. Severance. I only just discovered the show this year, so kind of like binge watched all of it as the new series came out. And I do think the new series was good. Maybe not as strong as the earlier series, but the way people were... I have a friend, Lizzie, who some of you know, she was watching the show with a notepad and taking notes. And like, I am a person who likes to read theories and things, but not to the point where it's going to spoil the show for me. And I had to stop looking at Reddit, which is a shame because I love Reddit. I spend a lot of time on Reddit for housewives, for movies I watch. If I watch a movie, I'm instantly on the movie subreddit reading all the reviews of it, no matter what it is. I love Reddit for that. I had to actually stop going on the Severance subreddit because they would keep correctly predicting things and it was like spoiling the show for me. So Severance wins my TV show that I really enjoyed but made me realise that some people are just way more into fandom and things like that than me of the year. Big Pink Energy's surreal moment of the year that probably won't sink in for years to come from now of the year is me going to Coachella, I think. Coachella feels like one of those once in a lifetime things and I got to do it and I'm still quite young and I'm very grateful for that. I got to see Lady Gaga, I got to see the first ever Art of Personal Chaos show. I also got to see Charlie XCX, Megan Thee Stallion in the same weekend. I made friends, I danced, I made my outfits, I drove from LAX to Palm Springs. I just had a really, really good time and I think it's something I'll be thinking about like forever. I'd love to go to Coachella again. I hope I get to go to Coachella again. I'll make it happen at some point. Movie I watched and instantly texted like 3 friends telling them they need to watch it of the year. Wake Up Dead Man, whatever the subheading is, to do with Knives Out. I think it's a Knives Out story. We watched this last night or the night before. It's amazing. I loved the first 2 Knives Out movies. Glass Onion got mixed reviews. I really enjoyed Glass Onion, but this one I would have to rewatch them because it's been a long time, but this one might be the best one. I loved all of it. The only low thing, I think, Mila Kunis could have done a bit better job of acting. Everything else was really good. It's so smart. I love Benoit Blanc as a character. Daniel Craig clearly has like so much fun playing him. But yeah, the story was really strong this time. Another brilliant Glenn Close role. Yeah, loved. Can't recommend it enough. If you haven't seen the Knives Out movies, you have to watch them. They are standalone movies, so you don't have to have watched all of them in order or anything like that. You could literally just go with one. I would, however, recommend watching them in order. But yeah, and they're all on Netflix, so really easy to watch. Can't recommend that enough. Like, seriously, go watch it. It's a murder mystery and it's camp. Go watch it. Most impressive solo debut of the year goes to Jade. I think when you look at Little Mix, they've all now put out solo music. Jade, for me, is really the only memorable one. Listen, I like Leanne, I like Perry. Their music is not connecting. Perry especially makes very kind of H&M music. Jade is doing something really interesting. She's clearly like a student of music. When you see her in interviews talking about who her influences are, when you see her talk about how important queer culture is, it's not just a performative thing, like shout out to my gay fans. No, she is living it and breathing it. Really, really intelligent choices she's made as an artist. And she's only released 1 album. I think she's brilliant. I think she's definitely had a huge year, and another one I'm just excited to see what's next. I got to see her at Mighty Hoopla. Yeah, I really loved her set. I think she's great, and I can't wait to see what she's going to do next. Angel of My Dreams as a debut single, 10 out of 10. The TV show I can't be bothered to finish of the year goes to Stranger Things. I'm sorry, I watched the first episode. Could I continue with it? Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but that in itself should kind of be enough to just tell you. This trend of like having to wait years and years between a new series just needs to die. Like, honestly, I don't know why that is. Like, AI makes everything faster. We're clearly not investing as much time and money into like lighting and cinematography as we used to, as you can see from the new Wicked movie. Like, it doesn't look as visually as beautiful as it used to because it's such an effort to light things in certain ways, is my understanding. I don't understand why things are taking so long to come out. I think if Stranger Things had all kind of come out in a timely manner, I would have loved it a lot more. I would have been obsessed with it. But the fact they've dragged it out for this long and it's the same story, like, oh, has Eleven got her powers? Don't know. Is she going to train and get them back? Probably. They're defeating Vecna again. Okay. Is she going to get a nosebleed? Yes. Are they going to die? Someone's going to die. But ultimately they're going to beat the evil and it'll be fine. Like, I'm fine. Boy, I love seeing my problematic fave winning moment of the year. Don't know how many of you know this. My favourite problematic artist, I think, is 50 Cent. Another one from my het side today. I love 50 Cent. And I know that's problematic. I know, but I love him. The Diddy documentary, first of all, it's a really well-made series and shocking. Parts of it were chilling. Parts of it made me very uncomfortable. Hell is not hot enough for Sean Combs. I will say that it has sparked joy for me to see how much 50 Cent is just loving the success the series has had. If you haven't seen it yet, again, I really do recommend it. It's another one that's on Netflix. I'm not sponsored by Netflix. This is kind of starting to sound that way. I'm not. But yeah, I recommend that one for you to watch over Christmas if you haven't. But yeah, trigger warnings because it's very, very heavy, very dark. But yeah, necessary viewing, I think. Album where I loved all the singles and pre-release promo but just didn't connect with the album tracks of the year. Eusexua by FKA Twigs. And I'm sorry to say it because I was really excited for the album because I loved the singles. Drums of Death, that video with Eusexua, that sort of double feature video she did, amazing. That and Abracadabra are the two like choreography moments that really impressed me this year. I had a lot of hype for this album. Also loved Perfect Stranger, and then upon release loved Striptease. I don't think I liked anything else. She cancelled her Coachella set, which, to be honest, didn't impact me because I was staying at main stage all day to see Gaga. But if she had played a different day or was playing the main stage, I would have been really, really gutted that she dropped out. Weird year for FKA Twigs, which leads me on to my next award. Surprised at how much I really fucking love this album of the year. FKA Twigs Afterglow. How she released Eusexua this year, which was such a disappointment for me, and then released Afterglow, which reminded me why I loved FKA Twigs in the first place. Yeah, it was whiplash, but my God, Afterglow is so good. It reminds me of like, if you listen to FKA Twigs, I'd say it's like Melissa, it's a little bit like LP1. Love Crimes is a brilliant opening track, but also Hard is fun, Wild and Alone is fun, and then Sushi is the standout track for me. I love the album artwork as well of Eusexua Afterglow. Had to talk about it with you. If you haven't listened to it, I do recommend it. Maybe you won't like it, it's a little bit weirder, but weird is fun. Last award is Lady Gaga of the Year. Lady Gaga of the Year, as in, Lady Gaga in 2025 has done everything, right? She was at the Grammys, she's gone on tour, she's done Coachella, she's released an album, she has done an acting cameo in Netflix. She has done so much this year. Interviews, photo shoots, performances, costumes, so much, so much. My 2025 Lady Gaga of the Year is just, of all of those things, what is the most Lady Gaga that she Lady Gaga'd? And I would say Abracadabra. I don't think that will be topped. I was talking about Abracadabra earlier with my friend David, and we were saying like there is a trinity of songs where I think Judas had a real power to it. Bad Romance had a real power to it. Abracadabra is the first song she's released since Judas that can stand next to those songs. The video, the concept, the lyrics. Like a poem said by a lady in red, you hear the last few words of your life. You think the song is about death and you're about to die, and the video is about dance or die. And like a poem said by a lady in red sounds like she's talking about the devil. You hear the last few words of your life. You then watch the video and you understand the wider concept of mayhem, and you realise the lady in red is just another iteration of Gaga, and it's all the worst parts of her. And you realise, you know, the game of life isn't you battling good or evil and trying to get into heaven when you die. It's you battling yourself. That song is just incredible. It's a return to form, but evolved. I don't think Gaga could have made Abracadabra when she made Bad Romance and Judas, because this is 2025 Gaga, where she is now in her life and her career and her artistry. So yeah, moment of the year, Lady Gaga of the year is Abracadabra. It can't be beaten. I don't think it even sunk in for me what a huge moment that was for all of us until recently. Like, Disease got me instantly, and I was so emotionally, mentally, spiritually invested in Disease that when Abracadabra came out and everyone was going crazy for it, I remember just kind of thinking like, I mean, well, it's good, but it's not Disease. Now, time has passed, dust has settled, I have had time to process. Abracadabra is the perfect song, video, moment of the year, and I really hope it wins some Grammys. I really hope it does. She did that. It's such a special song for me too personally, because you might remember I did a piece of content with Universal Music for the release of Abracadabra. Like, Gaga having a huge year means me having a huge year as a creator, right? Because all my content is about her. So yeah, getting recognised by her record label was really huge for me, and that's because of Abracadabra. That's something I'll cherish forever. But yeah, like seeing it at the Mayhem Ball with the big dress, I can't believe I was even there the first time she did that. It's been amazing to watch Gaga so like back on top, you know? And I don't mean that in terms of like charts or views or numbers success. I mean, yeah, Abracadabra has been at the top of quite a few end of year lists, which has been really good to see. But for me, it could have sold nothing and I would have been brought so much joy just to see her like thrive in this way. A really, really special moment in her whole career. So yeah, happy to see it, happy to be in the audience for it. Love her. Right, let me wrap this up because I've been talking for a long, long time. Thank you for your support this year. 2025, as I say, has been like my biggest year as a creator. And I know part of that is due to Gaga herself being in the public eye so much. These opportunities come my way because she's in the news, things like that. But that wouldn't be possible without you guys tuning into my stuff. And I really do appreciate you. We've had some really good moments together this year. I loved doing the live streams for Dress to Impress. I loved like the Q&As we've done like around Coachella. That was really fun. Fun like outfit moments I've had at the Mayhem Ball this year. I've seen Gaga like 6 times this year, I think. Toronto, Antwerp, 3 London, Coachella. 6 times I saw Gaga this year. So it's been huge, and I've met lots of you, and I'm always so like it gives me like a warm feeling in my chest when like someone comes up to me, they're like, oh, I've seen your videos. It's just lovely. I'm really appreciative of all of you. Here's to 2026. I don't think it's going to be over. I think we all thought Gaga was going on a bit of a break, but I think there's going to be more for us to talk about next year. So I'm here for it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting me. It means more than you know. And I'll see you in 2026. Best wishes and kisses. Bye, bye, bye.